To new business. And number one is our presentation by Matthews Keynes to adopt our FY 2022 audit for the city of Rankin.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I believe I don't know the rest of you. My name is Matthew Keynes. I'm a partner with Keynes Hodges and Company. We do your audit. We're obviously a good bit later presenting than we normally are due to circumstances I'm sure you're all aware of at this point. But every year, about half of our audit clients have us come and present in a meeting like this. The other half might see one or two council members or commissioner members a year and just in passing through City Hall or council complex. But historically, y'all have had us come here and present the audit. Generally what I do is make sure you guys have a copy of your financial statements. Y'all probably had a printout of what I'd sent your city manager previously, and then tonight I cleared it with him. I bring y'all your bound copies. So your bound copies are here. The only thing that's changed since y'all since y'all were presented the financial statements, I believe it was on April 8th, was a question regarding some wording on page 9. It was regarding net pension, but we had asset. That was some wording that carried over from last year. It's a net pension liability. And I think there was a question as to what pension asset was not identified. Does that ring a bell? Was that a discussion?
Yes.
Okay. The wording there, just so everyone's clear, when you have, that statement on page 9 is reconciling your fund financial statements on page, and I didn't look at those pages. Your fund financial statements on page 8 to your government-wide financial statements on page 6. This isn't regarding an asset or a liability that wasn't identified, but when you have non-current assets on your government-wide financial statements on page 6, because they are not current financial resources, they are not recognized at the fund level. So that's all that explanation is saying. Now, what it is saying now is because it's a net pension liability, it's not using current financial resources. So it's not included in the it's not included in the liabilities on page 8. That's according to governmental accounting standards. All of this gets very complex. If any of y'all ever want to discuss the nuances of modified accrual accounting, which is what's presented on pages 8 and 10, and full accrual accounting, which is what's presented on 6 and 7, I get very nerdy very fast and would be happy to talk with y'all ad nauseum and bore you to tears. But that was a question that Jonathan mentioned to me. I did want to clarify that, and I may have just complicated it even more so, and if I did, I apologize.
You did. I asked the question, so you clarified.
Okay, good. Anytime you see an asset was not available for it, don't take that as, and if you do take it as, Jonathan will be happy to give you my cell phone number. You can call me and I'll talk to you later. But anytime you see not available in an explanation, something like this, it's regarding just the difference in accounting between your fund level financial statements and your government-wide financial statements. You guys, being a government, just have a lot of nuance in the way that we are required to be in compliance with governmental accounting standards to present your financial statements. I have no other client no other type of client that we have to report on 2 different bases of accounting, which is really pretty cool because the vast majority of CPAs just start going cross-eyed when we start talking about the differences between what they're used to in full accrual accounting versus what you do for your fund level accounting. That being said, I know you've had a copy of your financial statements for a while. If y'all want to discuss anything in it, I would suggest I'll just walk through this letter real quick. Usually I blow through this letter really fast because usually it's the same council year over year, and they really don't want to hear me read through the same thing over and over again. But as this is my first time dealing with most of you guys, we'll walk through it still fairly quickly because a lot of it's just technical communication required to get you guys at the conclusion of every audit. I did notice one typo. Second paragraph on this letter says 21, it should say 22. You'll notice that the wording doesn't change much from year to year. So that's a typo, and I apologize for that, but that's saying that y'all didn't adopt any new accounting policies, and the application of existing policies did not change during the year. Now, that being said, internal control procedures changed. That's why there's an abundance of internal control findings at the back of the financial statements. And my understanding is that your management is working diligently to correct those findings, or already has. That being said, I haven't looked into what's happened after the end of the year. Hopefully we can get into that pretty quickly now that we're well into the year subsequent to your 2023 year. But what this letter is saying is that we've audited your financial statements. There are various opinion units in your financial statements. So when on page, forgive me, on page 5, on pages 3 to 5, we're saying we're issuing in our opinion, your financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects. We're not just issuing an opinion and we're not just issuing one opinion. Okay? Most audits you see, most audit financial statements you see, it's one set of financial statements, there's one opinion given. Here we are auditing the governmental activities, the business activities, each major fund, and major fund has its technical definition, and those are actually presented on pages 8 and 10 of your financial statements. Each major fund and the aggregate remaining fund information of your financial statements. So we're actually issuing at least 4 opinions here, and you can have one for each major fund we have. And this is really high level, and like I said, I'll be happy to dive in as deep as you want to go with it. We have to provide we have to provide you this information and other information regarding our responsibilities under government auditing standards. That's the prevailing requirements under which we conduct our engagement. Moving on to the second paragraph, your management is responsible for your accounting policies and the enactment of your policies. Even though we prepare your financial statements, that's as a matter of efficiency and expediency for you guys. But the financial statements are management's responsibility. The only thing in this set of financial statements that's ours is pages 3 through 5, which is our auditor's report, and pages 48, well, through the end, I can't remember how many pages with the findings we have there, but pages 48 through 54. That's our internal control report. Everything else is your guys's. What y'all pay us the money for is those 2 reports. Third paragraph of that letter says that it goes on to discuss accounting estimates. Anytime you look at, basically the idea is to say that certain things in these financial statements aren't ironclad. We have an estimate of the useful life of fixed assets. I mean, we think this building has a useful life of, say, 50 years. And then the estimate of the remaining useful life of the fixed asset. The estimate of the collectability of accounts receivable, say water sewer. I mean, it's not a guarantee that we're going to collect 98% of water of the receivables there. So management has to make an estimate, and we assist in the calculation of that estimate based on assumptions that management's provided us. We do various non-audit services for you guys, like assisting the calculation of depreciation expense, which is a function of the estimated useful life of assets. And if, Mayor, if you'd like for me to move faster too, you can give me this.
No, you're fine. You're fine, because I've got a question on the second page.
Sure. You want to go and get there, or you want?
Yeah, that's fine. It just says that, during this audit, we had difficulties encountered in performing the audit. Significant difficulties in completing the audit due to lack of initial availability of audit documentation.
Sure.
So was that just financials that needed to be caught up? Was that?
No, that was, if you look back, if what'll provide a lot of clarity for this particular paragraph, and I almost never have a paragraph that looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that here in the city. I think I've had a paragraph like that in one presentation I've ever given. Okay. But we have that from time to time. Sometimes it's changing personnel. A lot of times it's changing accounting procedures. I understand, Jonathan, y'all never went through with the conversion to the new accounting software, did you?
It's not yet, still.
Okay. A lot of times you'll see it there because A lot of times, especially when you jump from one accounting system to another and you don't run parallel systems for a period of time, which can be a little expensive, but it's to make sure that we work out the kinks before we completely abandon the old system. You'll see it in cases like this, but in this case, there was just an overhaul of some internal control procedures, and they didn't go very well. And it gave rise to some documents not being available, having to actually go back to vendors and ask, not us, y'all, had to go back to vendors and ask for accounts payable for invoices. And all of that ran into, when we're starting an audit in June or July, that's our slow time. When it gets into September, well, now we've got individual returns on extension, business returns on extension. Get in October, we've got October returns on extension. Get into to November, December, now we've got all the other audits that are due at December 31st. And that combined with having to go back and still get more documentation. Personnel, it's personnel turnover, I'm assuming y'all are well aware of that.
Right.
That all of that just kind of factored into this audit's just dragging on, but we can't audit what we don't have.
Right.
Okay.
So Jonathan, has 2023 started?
The audit has not started, but we have started preparing.
We started preparing for the audit, so hopefully we won't have this paragraph for 2023 because we'll have time to get this.
I can assure you, we will not have this paragraph for 2023.
Yes,
I've
and-
discussed with I'm sorry.
We're taking steps to make it sure it's easier for you guys.
Sure.
Because we've all been to different classes and we're implementing that for the audit. So hopefully it'll be much, much easier for you
Sure.
guys.
And we're not accustomed, we're accustomed to difficulties at times. We have some things that are perpetual headaches, but we know they're coming and we know to plan for it. This was a case where, we went from no findings for the last 3-4 years. It's smooth sailing, know exactly what to expect, kind of, sort of, because you never want to just, as auditors, never want to sit back and assume that you know what's going on.
Right.
We preach to our guys, hey, Reagan said trust but verify. That's the quote that's used in school all the time when we talk about professional skepticism. But it's, you can sit here, believe your city manager, go verify what he tells you.
Right.
That's what becomes audit evidence when you verify. But the whole idea is that, sorry, lost my train of thought here, and that'll happen when I'm not a public speaker. But, there were unexpected events this year. Even in July and August, we thought, okay, we know that there's some issues, and then as we got in, we noticed it was far more pervasive than we ever expected. And a lot of times, you'll see that happen. It'll snowball all at one time, and then once everyone's aware of it, you can get it cleaned up. And I fully expect, especially after talking with Jonathan and with another lady y'all brought on, that I fully expect that things should be very smooth. Now,
Yeah.
Now granted, new personnel, we're always gonna audit with a heightened sense of, not assuming that things are the way they've always been. And maybe with a heightened sense of awareness, just because, just never want to assume that things are gonna be smooth. We always try to be a little, overcautious in those situations. But, have no expectation that we should encounter significant difficulties. Just as a point of reference, I think I counted 46 journal entries that's attached to this letter. In prior years, we've had 1 or 2 client-provided entries where we discussed with the previous personnel, and he said, that needs a change, here's the entry. 1 or 2 of client-provided entries, not audit-proposed adjusting entries.
So
And
this is
just-
from 2022.
Mhm.
Calendar year 2022.
Yes.
Prior to 2022, they had very few issues.
For the previous,
Personnel and staff changed, that's what happened?
Staff,
Staff.
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
what it was.
Mhm.
It was staff change, and, like Jonathan said, I think our city manager now has someone in place, that can handle these, that understands these audits, like they should be done. So I believe the consistency will be there for 2023, no doubt.
and limited communication with her, she seems, just, don't take this as me just stamp approval or anything like that. But in limited communication with her, I have no reserves about saying I have, full expectations, everything should be back on track.
Perfect. And then, so we're preparing this and I just wanna understand this, we're preparing for 2023.
Yes, sir.
When does 2023 start though officially?
I think, Whitney, will get with Matthew, and they'll get some engagement paperwork worked out, so as soon as they're ready.
So as soon as we're ready in our building,
And they'll coordinate a time, they'll come in for a week or two, set up shop in the conference room and start hammering it out.
Hopefully get as much done in advance of getting here as possible, so we don't disrupt y'all's schedule, any more than we have to, and then we'll be on site for a week or two. Usually it's closer to 2 weeks, cause y'all have so much going on with golf fund, water, sewer, sanitation, and the general fund. But, just so you understand deadlines and all. Generally speaking, your deadline is, I think it's 180 days, but we say 6 months within year end, so June 30th. But provided that you haven't, that you've been filed, you can get 2 extensions, and we didn't, I don't even think, I believe we can get an extension to December 31st if necessary. And that's just me emailing the state saying, hey, you might give us an extension, she'll confirm yes or no. But,
so I just wanna stop you there, so when you talk about that extension, while we're in that extension, does that affect our, us getting the
Status.
loans and
No, sir,
grants that we need?
no, sir, that's an extension granted by DCA, by the state.
Okay.
And we control that. It's once it gets past that 6 months, past that extension period.
That's whenever we're-
Where you become essentially on the state's.
And we're just on hold until we complete it?
That's correct. For example, and I'm sorry to hijack it, Matthew, with our
No.
LMIG, we were approved with LMIG, but they held the check until we had an adopted audit. Now that we have an adopted audit, everything is back to normal.
Jonathan, where's Whitney at with getting 2023 caught up?
She's there. I mean, she is into it. She already knows where the journal entries need to be before it even gets to Matthew now.
The last time I talked to her, she was getting through 2023, but still had to do utilities for 2023.
So that's where she is now. She's got the general fund reconciled.
that's a big step.
Yep, that part is done.
So it may be possible for us to get going and be close to this deadline. Maybe at
I
least
think
one
so,
extension.
and part of it from our end is when Matthew and his team, they'll send an email and say, hey, we need sample files to go, or we need these files ready.
She didn't want to.
And if they're ready to go.
Oh, I wouldn't, if I were in her shoes, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, and as long as it don't affect us, I'm fine with it extending out. I just wanna make
If
sure that
I'm
we
her,
get back on
and
track.
I'm able to, I'm not gonna promise that either. But, okay.
Well-
I'll touch base with her this week then.
But
Just so y'all know too, the 180 days is for the audit. There's still a report, if we get the extension through December 31st, great. There's still the report of local government finance that needs to be filed by June 30th, and I'll discuss with Whitney if she wants to do that or she wants us to historic. For the last several years, we have, but that again is one of those non-audit services that, I don't really care one way or the other who does it, but we can just discuss who can do it. I'm sure she's fully capable of it.
Whitney's background is audits, so she
Yeah.
said she's gonna be very prepared for your.
I was really enjoying talking to someone who's been there and knows that kind of nerdy stuff.
Perfect. All right, you'll move on?
Last paragraph on page one, on that first page of that letter, it describes significant financial statement disclosures. Your financial, just the hard numbers in your financial statements run through page, sorry, I don't have these things memorized. Run through page 14. So you've got from page 6 to 14, that's 9 pages of financial statements. But then we have disclosure notes to your financial statements from pages 16 to 37. So you got 9 pages of notes, 9 pages of financial statements, 20 pages explaining virtually every number of those financial statements. So those are your disclosure notes. We talked about certain financial statement disclosures in the last paragraph of the first page of that letter. We're trying to tell you what's the most significant disclosure notes that you have. Those are almost always gonna be fixed assets, long-term debt. Interfund balances and interfund transfers, what each fund owes the other fund, what fund transferred money through like an expense or revenue to another fund. Again, these are the same notes that are significant year over year. I just labored the point a little bit because you got you guys who are new to council and don't really know what you guys know, so just kind of want to run through that quick. We did mention difficulties encountered during the audit. Again, this is going to page 2. Don't expect those going forward, but this is a requirement that we have to tell you. It's required communication that if we get audited or peer reviewed by, that we do have to undergo, I have to be able to show them that we told y'all this. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements. There were numerous misstatements that have been corrected. And anytime we, just so you know, anytime we have an audit adjustment, we're gonna have findings. That's what gave rise to the findings in the back. I believe there were 46 corrections. Those are the white pages that are stapled, kind of the addendum to this letter. So if you wanna go through those, if you want to discuss any of that stuff, y'all talk to me anytime. I'll be happy to talk to you. Management representations. We just mentioned that your financial statements are management's responsibility. Your accounting procedures and the application of those accounting procedures are management's responsibility. Management has acknowledged those responsibilities and other responsibilities. They've represented to us that they've provided us all the information we've asked for, that they've been truthful with us. They've told us about any fraud that's occurred, any law violations, and so forth. Those are all encompassed in a representation letter that management gave us dated the date of your financial statements. Moving on, we discuss management consultation with other accountants. This paragraph is just to inform you that if management has consulted with other accountants, like the second, to check behind us on any of our opinions, anything like that, that the consulting accountant's required to tell us, hey, they're asking about this, to make sure they have all the relevant facts. To our knowledge, no such consultations have occurred. We're required to tell you that as well. The next paragraph just says, hey, we do have a relationship with you guys that extends beyond the audit, that just throughout the year, maybe on an even informal basis, management will bounce ideas off of us, check and make sure that they're kind of thinking down the right road regarding the accounting or treatment of certain matters. That's just a routine part of our business relationship, and that they're not a condition of our retention. We have to say that so everyone understands that, hey, if you thought it was a condition of our retention, it could give rise to a question, okay, is there an independence impaired? So professional standards, so we have to have that piece of communication in there as well. In addition to the financial statements that we apply, that we give an opinion on, we provide certain limited procedures to the other information that accompanies your financial statements. That's right behind the notes of the financial statements. That's a budgetary comparison. You know, if you go over budget, you have to amend the budget, that's another piece that delayed the audit a little bit, because we had expenditures in excess of appropriations, so I had to wait to issue the audit opinion until after you approved the budget amendment. But your budgetary comparisons on page 38 to 40, and then there's some retirement statements on pages 41 to 42. We perform certain limited procedures on those and determine that they're consistent with the financial statements themselves. Then there's other schedules, schedule of hotel and motel tax, SPLOST schedule. That's at the end of your financials, at the back end of everything, right before the internal control letter. We don't issue an opinion on those, but we do look to make sure that the information is consistent with your financial statements as well. And again, the restriction, and not again, but finally, the restriction on use of this information is intended solely for you guys. That is the longest I've ever spent on that letter. I apologize if I labored too much on that.
New people.
Through any questions on the letter, the adjustments, the financial statements, the audit report, or the findings?
You guys have anything?
And y'all are welcome to contact me anytime. My engagement letter is with mayor and city council, so I'm happy to talk to you guys anytime. I'll never refuse a meeting.
We appreciate it, Mr. Kane. And this was adopted the last meeting, so, you know, I guess no further action on this at all.
Well,
So we thank you.
I don't know what your charter requires, but technically, you're not even required to adopt an audit.
Right.
Y'all engage us to audit and issue an opinion. There it is.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay, our next item is the first reading on a petition filed by Jimmy Bowen on behalf of Rankin Church of God, requesting rezoning for the parcel located at 3430 Highway 21 South to amend that zoning from light industrial to general commercial. You have any questions or comments? If
Make a
not,
motion to approve.
Second.
got a motion from Ms. Riley, a second by Mr. Blackwell. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Vote on the first reading to approve a variance filed by Stan and Louise Reiner to encroach into the side and front setbacks for a new house located at 123 Sweetwater Drive. Any questions or comments?
Make a
Motion.
motion, we approve.
Motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our next item is, Ms. Melissa Calhoun requests to appear before council.
She's not here.
She is not here. Move on. The authorization to renew Georgia, Interlocal Risk Management Agency, our GERMA Property and Liability Insurance Program.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is just, it's our annual renewal. Unfortunately, it is the number it is. You kind of, in your packet, you can kind of see our limits of liability and how that's, also the contribution spread out among different departments. So if you look at your cover page, it does show, that it's not a budgeted item, but that's because we can't put in a budget line for every single department. This number is spread across every department based upon their number of buildings, vehicles, employees. So it is a budgeted item. We did actually budget $250,000 for it, so it did come in a little under budget overall for this year. So.
Do you remember what it was for 22, 23, or does anybody have that?
$200,803.
So we went,
Yeah, it did, I believe it did go up. So yeah,
Yeah.
200,803.
okay.
And that comes, you add more vehicles, more buildings, more staff, that number does go up. But they typically give you enough of a heads up in a budget year so you can expect a certain percentage increase. So we were able to account for that this year.
Yeah. And we did have a couple of things.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Riley, second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Number 6, we have a resolution for the activation of the Economic Development Authority of Rankin, Georgia. I definitely want you to speak on that, Jonathan.
Yes, sir. There was some conversation and some requests for us to look into the possibility of starting a downtown development authority. And the more conversations we had conversations with Bobo and Ben regarding the needs and what the desire of that was. So based upon those conversations, what's before you all is a resolution to activate, essentially, it's just a development authority, but it would be an economic development authority. And by doing that, the geographic boundary for an economic development authority would be the entire city, as opposed to if we went through the route of doing a downtown development authority, you would have to define a
You'd
much
have to
smaller
define what
boundary.
downtown was. Okay.
Yes, sir, that is correct. And just as I mentioned the other day to someone, although we're calling ourselves an economic development authority, this is in no way, shape, or form in competition for the industrial development authority for the IDA. We are strictly commercial.
Right.
This is to attract businesses to the city. And by law, and I'll have Bobo chime in here because he's way more of an expert than I am. There will need to be a 7-member board appointed by you all, consisting of taxpayers within the boundary, which is in the city, but I believe those taxpayers can be both business owners as well as residents.
That'd be a good mix.
And that would need to be done sooner than later, but it does not have to be done tonight with the approval of the activation resolution.
That's correct. The requirements for a DDA, Downtown Development Authority, are more narrow and restrictive, including who can be on it. The Development Authority will give you a wider base within which to work to promote all the goals you're seeking to achieve. And you can pass by resolution later the list of folks you'd like on it, so.
And something I did forget to tell,
Seven.
is several years ago, the reason we don't have to do a whole lot of legwork is the state of Georgia approved development authorities for every jurisdiction in the state of Georgia. So all you have to do to implement one is do an activation resolution. You don't have to create any sort of new law or ordinance. The state did that for every jurisdiction. It's just up to the locality to activate such an authority.
I have a question, cause my reading of this, on page 2 says the director shall be taxpayers residing in the city.
That is a requirement for the development authority.
Do they consider business owner as residing, or is someone who lives here your place of?
Residence.
It does have to be a resident, yes, ma'am.
Oh, so it can't
Sorry.
be just a business owner?
Correct, that would be a distinction between the DDA and DA.
Okay,
I did have that, I apologize for that. I think
So
was-
I just didn't know if that's something, but that has to be that way, correct?
Correct, for the DA. Now, when this was originally looked at, it was through the lens of a DDA, which is why some of that language was still being considered, but the statute has the language we've incorporated in the ordinance, or, excuse me, the resolution.
Okay, and it can be no less than 7, but it can be up to 9.
That's correct.
Okay.
and this is a volunteer, fully volunteer board?
No
or
pay.
we-
That's correct.
Reimbursement of expenses, but no pay.
Okay.
I've been looking at this for 2 years.
Now, you can't have employees, but that would be separate from the directors.
Well, now, in my reading too, staff like Jonathan or someone at City Hall could be the secretary, the financial secretary of the board of directors.
There are certain things that can overlap, and we can certainly go through what those are, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we need, what I would like is for us to just kind of break the rules out,
Yes.
simplify it, so that we know what the guidelines are for that.
We can have an action plan.
Yeah.
For execution, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've already drafted a draft set of bylaws, but that does not, I can give them to you all, but that would have to be adopted by the board that you all appoint.
Right.
Okay,
At this stage, you're activating the set in motion.
Right.
Its creation.
okay.
Is there a timeline for us to appoint these, board of directors, like within the next year?
There's no technical requirement in the statute, but obviously as a practical matter, I wouldn't wait for no
Wouldn't
reason.
wait,
Yeah.
yeah.
And once you activate the resolution tonight, if we do that, then we can move forward.
And Jonathan, can we set standards, for who can be on the board? Because, I mean, and I call it REIT, or Rincon Economic Development Association, but the people that sit on there is going to have their hands in a lot of money, so we need to have some guidelines and outlines for the people that can sit on this board, correct?
You absolutely can, where you, in those same bylaws, you could say X number of representatives will be city council members, X numbers will be property owners, X
One
numbers will be
city
property
council.
owners and business, like, they have to have property and business, you could, and you can also say your city manager or staff will be the ex officio CFO of the ordinance, something like that can be in there, so.
Because it says just one person, one council member, so can,
I don't think we have to define all the rules tonight, do we?
yeah, but
Yeah, that's the
once
thing, you
we
can do your
set this,
structure.
though,
We're
once
gonna-
we set
we'll
this,
approve
it
it. You
said.
can do your structure.
Yeah.
It's gonna take time.
I'll say
to
this,
do the
if you
structure
adopt the
anyway.
resolution as it is tonight, it can set into
We're just
motion its
activating the
activation, and then if you wanna look into amending it
We
to
can
allow
amend
for-
it later,
you can
okay,
certainly
cause
amend.
I didn't want us to set this in stone tonight and then be, okay,
Tied to.
okay, tied to it,
Yeah.
okay.
Any
good.
other questions, comments on this? If not, a motion's in order.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Got a motion by Ms. Underwood, a second by Mr. Scott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 7, we got adoption of revision of the city's personnel policy, section 135 relating to appeals and grievances. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, sir. Several weeks ago, we had been tasked to revise this policy, when you all appointed a hearing officer outside of yourselves for an employee appeal. So that's what's before you all. Our city attorneys have worked with us, or worked with staff in drafting this policy. I do want to look at 2 different sections that may have edits in them. Ms. Underwood found 135.11D Part 2 is a little confusing, and I think we just need to add the words in the event the employee is reinstated following a disciplinary action taken, whether it was removal and pay, that affected employee will be reinstated to that, because I think it is a little confusing, just saying in the event that the disciplinary action was removal, they get all the back pay in the world. Is that what you're?
That would be a recommended amendment, yes.
Well, isn't that what number 1 addresses?
If what we have before us isn't correct, can we
You can table
not
it.
vote on this today, table it, and y'all bring us the right copy?
I'd recommend table.
I would recommend tabling it to May 28th.
Okay. I'll make that motion if we table it.
Table.
I second.
All right, I got a motion to table by Ms. Underwood and a second by Ms. Riley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes to table. Number 8 is approve the agreements with, Mr. Breeden and Mr. Heap on the service solicitors for the City of Rankin Municipal Court. Speak on that, John.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Several months ago, when our former city attorney, Mr. Dickey, resigned, he also resigned as being our solicitor, so you all appointed Mr. Rick Rafter as our interim solicitor. So following, just kind of speaking with some others to see who would have interest, we received interest from Mr. Breeden and Mr. Heap to kind of tag team and both serve as our solicitor as needed. If you are familiar with those names, or if you think you've heard those names, both of them are assistant district attorneys in our district housed at the courthouse. We have talked to Ms. Daphne, the district attorney, and she is okay with us hiring them should you all want to move forward. They would essentially be independent contractors. Each of them would charge a not to exceed fee of $1,500 per month. Right now with Mr. Rafter's monthly billings, they've been no lower than about $4,800 a month just for his single service. So I mean, that's just, it is what it is at that point. You know, we needed the service, but now we're in a position to get I would say a better quality of service, because we would have 2 attorneys assisting us that are familiar with the rules and regulations. Chief Merle is the one that actually brought this idea up, so I believe the PD and courts are both in support of moving in this direction. So,
Perfect.
and we do have that money, and I don't want to speak for Chief Merle. He's here if you have any questions for him as well. Okay.
And also, the municipal court only meets once a month, correct?
Twice a month.
Twice a month.
Yes, sir.
So I have a question, and it may be inappropriate, but so pay attention to it.
Fire away, man.
All right, I'm gonna back up. Back up.
I'm ready.
Are there any guidelines to our solicitors as far as, I believe that we had some problems in the past with everything kind of being kicked down the road and maybe fees being reduced at a ridiculous rate?
So that was another reason for us to reach out and attempt to find solicitors. Those conversations, I've had those conversations with Mr. Breed and Mr. Heap, and they will not be doing that.
Okay, so conversations are being had.
Conversations have already
And
been
that's
had.
appropriate.
That is absolutely appropriate.
That is
Yes, ma'am.
appropriate.
That is appropriate, yes, ma'am.
Because what's inappropriate is not to do the right thing. That's
Correct.
inappropriate. Any more questions or comments?
Can I add to that? Because Brandon's brought up a good point. Cause I know that our, clerk of court probably keeps a good record. Would it not be possible for city council to be made privy to when this is going on, like, especially waiving the fees and fines and what those add up to sometimes? Cause I know in the past, it's been considerable amounts. And that's not being reported to us, and so, I mean, just for clarity and for us knowing what's going on.
Yes, ma'am, we do have some of those reports, but I will say that when we do appoint a solicitor, you know, that is part of the duty they have, is to work within the confines of what our fines are and to do that. So they do have a little bit of discretion in doing that, but I don't think that Mr. Breeden and Mr. Heap will abuse that, not even a little bit.
If I may, I give a suggestion on that, what you're talking about. You wanna be very careful about, giving the appearance of being a revenue generating agency as far as citations and all. Police are not supposed to be a revenue generating agency. So my suggestion to get firsthand on what takes place is stop by on a court date here and there, any of it. And you can sit there and see how courts operate instead of calling a department head in. And what it sounded like you were talking about is asking that department head, how much money have we let walk away?
Well, and
No.
I think what I've heard in the past was that, maybe there was some tremendous amount of pass-bys and what we don't want to do is let the pass-bys be people we know or people we're connected to, because that doesn't look good either.
So
We just, it need to be fair, whoever we,
my concern is not PD. We have code enforcement,
That's right,
yeah.
that's what I was gonna bring up.
and I believe that it's okay for that to be revenue generating, is it not?
So there's a common rule in government, especially for general fund accounts, PD, rec, building, planning and zoning. You're only supposed to be able to raise a reasonable amount of fee to essentially stand your own department up.
Right.
Right.
So, but I mean, once you.
Okay, so not, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah, it's a-
absolutely.
The biggest thing that I wanna add to what Chief Merle said is, I also don't wanna get to the point to where, police officers are writing tickets because people are doing wrong in our city, and then those guys are just walking out of here. Because what that does is when you're a police officer on the beat, you decide, man, you know what, it's probably gonna get thrown out anyway. So it changes your thought process whenever you're pulling somebody over, and I don't wanna do that.
And I think maybe that's
And
where
it's
Ms.
not just
Underwood was
fines,
going.
it's
is
also
Well, and
We were
things like-
reducing the charges, and that was more so than the money.
Well, and
Yeah.
two, I wanna make sure too that we're not, reducing things like DUIs, cause I personally don't think a DUI should be reduced.
I think that the two that you guys, the motion that's in place will solve the issues that we've got with that.
Perfect.
I'm confident in that.
Okay.
All right.
We trust you.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a motion?
Yeah. Yeah, motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Ms. Riley, second by Ms. Underwood. All in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, we'll go into administrative reports. Mr. City Manager?
Yes, sir,
Kick it
just
off.
a couple of quick things tonight. First, I'll give you guys an update.
Thank you for coming.
I spoke with a couple of you all about changing the format of our, I don't wanna call it our to-do list, but our tracking list. So hopefully by the end of this week, we are going to have a SharePoint Excel file that can be shared with the public through our app, where you just click it and everything is real-time tracked as it's updated. And we'll be able to put it up on bigger TVs hopefully soon in here to kind of go through that, so that you guys are definitely very active, so we are running out of room on the whiteboard. So it does look a little cluttered. So we think that may be a cleaner way, the public can access it. We'll put a link on our website, but just go through that app. It'll be one of those applets right there, city project list, and just they can click it and go in at any time. They won't be able to change it, of course, but they'll be able to go in and look at it and see where we're going. So we're hoping by the end of the week that, once it's done, it's very easy to get into the app. We can do that pretty quickly. So just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that. Very happy, want to thank Shannon and her team and all of you all and everybody for Patriots Park. I know it's been almost a full year since that park broke ground. Very happy to say that before we came here to the meeting tonight, that park is officially open. Shannon added her team added some nice little touches. There's a box out there filled with sidewalk chalk for the kids to go and put their names in, and a sandbox for the kids to play in, some benches, ADA picnic benches. And it's just a great thing, and we hope that everybody takes advantage of the weather and gets out there and enjoys it, and I'm sure you all are supportive of this. This is just step one for Patriot Park, but we wanted to go ahead and make sure we got that open. And just the onlyest other thing that I have tonight, didn't even budge, is I know I sent you all an email, but I want to let the public know about our upcoming trip, if that's permissible to everyone. That we have been asked by Seiwan as part of a group that they are taking to their headquarters in Korea. May 5th through the 11th, some of us will be going with members of the IDA, the Board of Commissioners, to have business meetings at their headquarters outside of Seoul. I did talk to the city attorney. They did say that there is no vote needed to authorize this, as the expenses are all being paid by Saywan, that there is no cost to our budget, but we just think it's best to keep everybody informed. You know, we're very happy, they're the single largest economic development project that the city has ever had, and I believe that once they are finished, they're gonna be the largest employer in the city limits of Rincon with their 740 to 50 employees. That last number changes all the time, so just wanted to let everybody know about that and let the public know, as I'm sure this will just be the first trip. We know that they've been in LaGrange for 12 years, and they were originally supposed to be a part of this trip, which is what took so long to get everything hammered out. So I assume there will be another group of people going here in a pretty short order. So just wanted to let everyone know that.
You good? I just had a
Yes,
few
sir.
questions
Yeah,
for you. Couple of things here. First, I want to get a state of the city set up,
Okay.
because I don't think we've had those, and I think it's important that we have one, so that we let our citizens know where we are, where we stand, what we're working on. And I know, you know, that'll be very helpful, putting that on our app, but I think it's important that we're visible and that we let people know what we're doing in the city. And, a lot of things go unnoticed, and I think we need to make sure those things are put out. Also, our community engagement. I was thinking, you know, maybe that first week of May at some point somehow, if we can get that worked out. If we can't, then obviously it'd have to be like the third week. But if we can figure that out, I would like to move forward with that community engagement, because we're getting to the middle of the year now, and you know, we want to get into as many neighborhoods as possible, and I think Picket Fence is one of the neighborhoods, correct?
They should be the first neighborhood.
That's the first neighborhood that we want to,
Let's do it May 1st.
May 1st is fine.
Is everybody gonna be here?
Nope.
You're not gonna be here?
Nope.
Did we wait-
Y'all were gone the other week.
We're traveling food, but that's a good thing.
Well, and I will tell you this, it's not something that everybody has to attend.
No.
The biggest thing is the city manager's there, and staff is there, and you have someone representing mayor and council.
Right.
For that neighborhood. The
Okay.
biggest thing is the communication between staff and the citizens. And then that's, you know, that's who, you know, people
That's who
wanna-
the citizens will interact with,
That's
the
right.
staff, not so much us.
That's right, we're there to say a few words and move on.
Yeah.
And then make sure that all the things that, gets discussed, gets put on an action plan and by Jonathan, and you move forward with it, so. So we can have that if just one of us is available, because you're gonna be doing the whole thing.
I'll be there. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get those dates.
So
and
you
get those
make
to
it.
guys.
The other thing is we opened Patriots Park tonight, and I wanna make sure, that we go back, and I'm not saying we do a huge grand opening, but I would like to let people know, because we had a huge, group out there, and I would like to let them know and maybe do hot dogs or something out there, on one of the weekends or afternoons that we can, just to kind of kick it off. I think that would be important if we've done that. And the last thing is the water on chimney. Where are we at with that, pipe that we're feeding Saywan?
Well, for Saywan right now, Saywan, they're aware of the pressure issues. That's why right now they're doing the ground storage tank, is that they're probably 18 months out from getting the above ground storage tank, built. We did get an updated quote from EMC on the water line project, so we're trying to identify additional funding. I've spoken with Representative Hitchens and Speaker Burns. They're supposed to be getting me in touch with some representatives to figure out where we fund that difference, should we need it. Now, we also have had conversations with the county. They are willing to enter into a partnership with us to build the rest of that line for us, and, you know, there would be some water exchange there, not service area.
Yeah.
But just the actual water capacity that we may not be using yet. So
And the
that they can
IDA would
reduce.
be separate, I mean, the county would be separate from the IDA, because I feel like that, you know, that conversation could be had with the IDA as well.
Yeah.
Bringing them in, you know.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, it's a lot of moving parts. Jody is working with Senator Ossoff's office, and Senator Warnock, you know, with their appropriations that they're allowed to do, as well as Representative Carter. So we're putting everything out there. I think we'll be pretty successful here with the rest of that money here shortly.
My concern with this, how long is it gonna take us to get this in versus when they're wanting to open? Do
So-
we have time?
Oh, I'm not gonna, we will not have it in before they open, but they do not need it in. It is everybody else there that, because they're building their own system essentially. So but once that above ground storage tank is built, that, when they start filling that thing up, any pressure issues that people have in that area is gonna be exacerbated. It's gonna be exponentially worse, so we've got that time frame to get in. Once we get the funding, the work should be pretty quick. The project is already designed, EMC has already designed the project, so we are ready to move.
How
as soon as-
far is that water gotta run? Where's it at now to get there?
So it'll
4
come,
miles,
Huh?
4 miles.
so you'll go Chimney to Old Augusta and then down, essentially down to the roundabout to close that loop, so.
They'll happen real fast, right, Tim?
Water line's a lot easier to lay than sewer line.
It's
Yeah,
true.
it's like, and the design, the best part is the design's already done.
Yeah.
That would've taken probably 4 or 5 months.
How about easements,
You
John?
talking about their town?
So look, we have been in talks with the county, everything will be able to go within their right of way. So that should not have to purchase land, going down there.
So water will not be holding up Ceylon.
That is, water will not hold up Ceylon, that is
So
correct.
Mr. Scott had a good, question there. He had asked, who paid for the original, who paid for the tank?
They did.
They paid, so.
So
Ceylon
they
paid for
built the
it.
ground storage tank. The IDA got a grant from the Economic Development Administration
No, no,
for the
between-
water tank, for the water tower. They
Okay.
will turn that over to the city once it's completed, but we have not paid a dime on that.
So once that is completed, they will turn that actual tank, that will be ours.
It will be part of our system, that's
Be
correct.
part of our system. Okay.
The idea in the city.
Part of the
and
agreement.
county was bouncing back and forth
Yeah.
on that, and that's where we thought we would have a delay in the project, that we would have to speed up our side of it.
I thought, EMC would be here. The sidewalk, the pictures I showed you, did you talk to them about that?
I did send it to them. I have a meeting with them tomorrow. That's
Okay.
on the agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Could you add to that when you meet with them, that we don't need to pay for the rest of Fort Howard Road until they look at Market Street and Fort Howard Road? That sidewalk ends about that far from the asphalt on Market Street. There's a mud hole right there.
Okay.
When I saw it, I went down the rest of the road, and all of the concrete sidewalk meets the asphalt everywhere, but right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that it? So we move to, Chief?
Yes, sir.
All right. Chief Merle, come on up. This is your night.
We don't
So-
wanna hear the report
Yeah.
is there. We want you to come up
Yeah,
and talk.
so guys, just so you know, this is our second meeting of the month, and what we decided is that we would have staff here at the second meeting of the month. Everybody would be here to kind of give their take on their department.
Although I'm here every meeting.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you
We-
are.
we don't-
We don't make you speak at every meeting.
Right.
I have submitted a written report. I'm available for questions as far as that goes. I heard back today finally from, Hardy Chevrolet. They have 2 of our Tahoes in. We're waiting on the 3rd one to come in. You guys approved the purchase of those some time back. I forget, it was sometime last year. Aside from that, we're moving along. We're in the process of hiring another individual. That would put us, so long as everything goes through with that would put us at 23 sworn positions out of 26. And we are entertaining a second one also, who just graduated the police academy this morning. So he's not even really begun the process yet. He's not even submitted his application, but he's expressed interest to us, so.
How many available openings do you have right now?
As we stand here today, we have 4. We're about to fill one of the 4.
You can see where I'm going with that question, right? All right.
I'm not.
See how I'm wording it?
I got you.
All right.
So we're potentially going to very soon fill 2 of those. One of the 4 openings, as it stands today, is an investigative position. The other 3 are patrol. Aside from that, I mean, I think we're in a really good place.
I appreciate y'all doing the welfare checks. I see you had 53.
We do a lot of them. We do a lot of them.
Since we passed the, false alarm ordinance a while back, I see you got some commercial building, medical, residential, are you getting any
We've not cited any of them yet.
cited? I know we had a grace period where we were issuing.
We're
giving
passing
them
out the
the
ordinance though.
We need to, and I have not done this yet, but I need to draft and order some door hangers for that policy.
Right.
Remember, we spoke about that.
But I mean, the number hasn't changed, I guess,
Not really,
that
no.
okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am?
I know, and you and I have talked about it, and I've asked about curfews
Mhm.
for minors especially. I was speaking to a lady at the ball field the other night who was telling me they've had a rash of break-ins in Lost Plantation in their cars. It seems like it was young people with masks over their heads and book bags.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, anyway, my question is, have we looked into curfews any further? And I know you said there's already a law in place, you wanna
So
tell us
state
what
law,
that
there's
is?
state law for, curfew regarding juveniles, anybody under the age of 18, I believe it says 9 o'clock. It can be out between 9 and, what did I tell you?
I think it's like daylight, like 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
Something like that. So there's an existing state law in the books now that we can enforce.
What?
Can we get y'all to, I mean, cause I think the biggest problem we got is juveniles running loose.
Of course, we address it now. The issue is you're dealing with the juvenile system. So
Yeah.
when we hold a juvenile accountable, it's literally appears to be a slap on the wrist and turn it back over to the parents, and the courts are in contact with the parents about when to come into court, and it's really more punitive in nature to the parent than it is the child. So the child really feels no repercussion from it because they're not the ones paying the fines, they're not the one taking off of work to get them back forth to probation. It's just the best system we got, but that's the system.
Well, and you have to be careful with that because you got a lot of practices for
So is that-
kids that.
It's where the discretion comes in.
Yeah.
Good
you-
discretion.
That's right,
So
because
the
if you.
curfew right now, do we enforce it?
We do, yeah.
Okay, can I get a copy of it? Or where do
Sure.
where do I go?
I have to
It's just a state
figure out
law.
how to
You don't
run
speak.
that.
Legal counsel
You're
can pull
okay.
the statute
Yeah, that's what I was saying,
that,
it's a
the
state
chief
law.
is relied on.
Where do I
Yeah.
go?
Mention.
Just send it
Somebody
to us in an
Let me
email.
ask
Send
you
me one.
something.
Send me something to read.
When you have,
If you give me 5 minutes after I sit down, I'll send it to you.
cause like, I'm kinda betting 12 and 14-year-olds, I might even be aware of, do you guys notify defects too, because there seems to.
Depending on the situation. Depending on the
I
situation.
think everything is dependent on the
It's
situation.
a whole lot of situational.
Juveniles,
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day, you could say, get your butt home.
Mhm.
Nowadays,
The mothers would be calling each
Okay.
other, and they would take care of it.
Anybody got anything else for
It
Chief?
doesn't happen anymore.
Can we, thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you,
I
sir.
will
We
send
have
you guys the
Chief
statute.
Reed come up. I know he's got a lot to talk about.
He looks nervous.
He does.
I'm not
It's
nervous.
because he's not wearing all that brass
Oh,
that he
that's-
normally wears.
Yeah, right. Just a few things tonight. Two of the three individuals who Cooler was so nice to let us get in their EMT class, 2 of the 3 have passed their national registry. The other one takes his test tomorrow, so we'll see if he passes. Then we'll have 3 new EMTs on board, which is working towards our goal of going towards our licensed first responder agency.
wow.
Nice.
Good job.
And everybody knows and is aware that our chief is the assistant chief at Atlanta Motor Speedway during the races now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Our false alarm ordinance, we are handing out our false alarm ordinance. They are in our trucks printed out, so every false alarm we run, we hand them the ordinance so that they are quite aware. I have created a document statement on our national incident reporting system that lets us know when we have a false alarm, if there was an alarm ordinance handed out, yes or no. And it won't let you create it till it says yes. That way I can track it.
Very nice.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
I've submitted a report. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Water sewer? Oh, you wanna get?
Sorry,
come
I
on
thought
in?
I was next.
No, I'm
Oh, you
not.
are, you are next. Look at what it done. Look.
Well, mine is correct.
It's like, mine got jumbled up.
Yeah, normally I go after Tim,
Yeah,
but you
go
know.
ahead.
So planning development, we have a lot going on, a lot of exciting things. Comprehensive plan update, moving right along with that. We have our third meeting scheduled for May 8th. We don't have a location yet, but it'll be May 8th at 5:30. We'll send out more information once we have that. Our unified development ordinance also moving right along. We're actually probably ahead of schedule on that. Lots of plans under review right now, so just a lot going on.
The comprehensive plan, we kind of barged in on that meeting,
We did,
the
sorry
other
about
night. And all I wanna say is I think that, I think it's okay to show up here and there, but, we have a group of really smart people in there and a bunch of stakeholders that need to discuss the information. So I thought it was good that we answered all those questions, but I think the next meeting might be a meeting where we kind of back up a little bit and let stakeholders, and.
Yeah, I think that would be
yourself.
great, especially because we asked them to be there. I mean, I think that they and the guys from CRC definitely appreciated the input. But I think, yes, we definitely want our stakeholders to speak up and to participate, and I think they were maybe a little bit reluctant to
They
do
were,
so.
yeah.
So-
No, because we were there.
Yeah.
So the next
Especially three of
stakeholders
us.
meeting will
Right.
include who? Who is the next stakeholders? Is it
Well-
a different group each time?
It's not. We have 10 people that serve on that, and they're at each of the meetings.
And it's open to the public?
It is open to the public.
You encourage people to come?
Oh, absolutely. So every chance I got, I told people about it. It didn't result in a ton of people, but, I talked to people about the fair at it, so, talked to planning and zoning, put stuff out around City Hall, just trying to get the word out. So, because with a comprehensive plan update, you want as much public input as you can get. So
That's right.
if y'all can share it as well, that would be fantastic.
That's it. Oh, did you ever talk to Chicken Salad Chick?
I did. So let her know that the places that we have available, I think one is already off the table, but the others are still available.
Oh, good.
So,
I wish they'd come. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, recreation, Ms. Loper?
So y'all were talking earlier about the, Patriots Park. Kevin, you and Mona have already made the community Facebook page, so.
All right.
We've got a bunch of likes, it's out there. But on the real with that, I posted that we were doing the ribbon cutting today, and we had like 82 comments. So I think a lot of people were, well aware that that was opening tonight. We just finished the fair, as everybody knows. We're in talks with them about possibly, doing it again in the fall. I've talked to him about that, so we're gonna look at some dates and then I'm gonna report that back. Got Freedom Rings rolling as far as, plans for that, doing some different things this year. You gave us the idea of the dunking booth. So we're looking at a Dunkin' booth, and maybe, schedule people that are willing to get in it for so long. For that, it'll be a nice hot day, so it won't be as bad. The football and cheerleading, as you know, is, the registration opened up for that. Currently, as of today, we have 98 cheerleaders and 74 football that have signed
Man,
up.
that is awesome.
That's
great.
good.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna cheer that.
We're just gonna move forward. That's
We
great.
might have to have,
It's gonna be great.
you might have to go to Coach Cheer.
Coach cheerleading, yeah.
Would
I
now
might
be-
have to assign each of you a team.
Would now be an appropriate time for us to talk about the name?
Yes.
Yes.
While you're up.
Perfect,
Yes,
That's what
the
people want to
name.
know, Shannon. What's the name of the football team?
So, we went with the Storm
Nice.
in all gray. So that's
With
gonna-
some blue,
With some blue.
with some blue.
Well, we can do blue, right,
That's
blue
it.
letters, yeah, we can do the blue letters, so. All other sports, registration starts June the 1st. I've had a few people reach out to me with concerns about fall and baseball and softball. They would have approached me about, instead of doing fall baseball, softball, and baseball, that we just do an open league. I guess that's been done in the past, and it was very successful. So,
What would an open league entail?
basically, you bring your team
Okay.
and
Yeah.
register your team, so that you've got, you know, you don't struggle to have, enough kids to try to get enough teams together.
Well, and that's a great plan, because in the fall, that's school, but that's when everybody's done with travel. So through the fall, you got your travel teams looking for somewhere to play.
Yeah.
And there's not really a lot of tournaments, so that gives them the opportunity to play together.
Well, and then, you know, I'll even say, when I was, you know, across the river, we struggled with fall ball, and
Right.
we were triple the size,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know, I think it does sound like, a better plan. So, Chris actually came to me, he's still got all the rules and all that, and he's gonna bring them and sit down
Oh,
with
is
me.
that Chris Horn?
Mhm,
Great.
yeah,
Good.
so,
I
he
have
said
a
he'd
quick
work
question
with
about
me.
that.
Mhm.
Okay, so you've got your rec kids registered, and then you've got these teams. How do these beginning kids mesh with that?
Well, it would, so with the fall, you know, you're gonna have very few anyway because of soccer and football and everything else that's going on. So you're gonna be very limited with your numbers. So a lot of times when you do an open league like that, it'll drive most of those kids to the other sports.
Or you can put in place, and I've seen this in the past, where, you know, Shannon just puts something out and says, hey, we'd like to add 2 kids to this team.
Yeah.
And it gives those kids an opportunity to be on a team as well.
Yeah,
and get
because
playing time.
a lot of times, even with the travel teams, you know, you've got kids on those travel teams that are gonna wanna go play football anyway, so they're gonna lose a few of their kids anyway.
Okay.
Yes, rarely
Okay.
the same kids. And I'll tell you, I've learned that I think fall sports is where parents are just, they want their kids to stay active in something.
Mhm.
So they don't, a lot of times soccer, football, whatever's out there, cause I know Mike Pitts didn't feel like we needed to do it last year. He told me, he said, you can't get enough kids, and you get about 2 or 3 games in it, they all start quitting.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
good.
Good.
And then I've been, back and forth since, well, I forgot, I didn't give y'all, I did print out, you can pass down the fair, that's, I'm waiting on a couple more numbers, but that's about where we're at on the fair, budget. The All-Star issue, so I've been back and forth, sent emails, and my last one today was, to GRPA to say, what can I do to reactivate this? So apparently the suspension and the letter that I got, that I've never seen anything like it in all my years on the SCRPA board. We never suspended coaches or children forever.
Right.
That just, I've never heard of such. And so my emails back and forth to them today were, you know, what can I do to reactivate this? While I get, you know, we used to fine the city or the county or wherever, but not, you know, the children, like I said in the email today, they're 12. So
Right.
you're gonna tell them that they can't ever play again in All-Stars because of, yeah, I've never,
now, are you talking about just the girls that played on that team, or all of our softball?
just the girls that
Just
played
the
on
girls
that
that
team.
played.
The letter we got said just the girls and coaches that were on the team that had the ineligible player. That was
And
the
are they
only
wanting
thing
to
our
play
letter
again,
said.
or-
Well, some of them are playing with the 14 and up.
I just
But they're
don't,
not the same
a
thing.
lifetime ban is
A
pretty
year
ridiculous.
may have been okay.
Yeah.
It does say the
So,
word indefinite.
whatever needs to happen there, if that needs to be above and you going, or we get involved in it, that has to stop.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
was,
do a
I was,
lifetime ban.
and I did email the guy, I was like, I'm just shocked reading this letter that he sent me. I said, you know, and I explained to him, I said, you know, I would love to get involved, get, you know, on their committees, whatever, but I've never heard of,
Yeah, we'll start, we'll tag team on that.
you don't punish a child.
So this is-
No.
A child didn't make the
She
decision.
didn't make it, that's right.
You know, I mean, just like I tell the coaches all the time, I understand when they get aggravated that children don't show up, but the children don't drive.
Right, that's right.
You know.
And you know what, those coaches, I mean, they deserve to be disciplined.
Yeah.
But a lifetime ban is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty steep,
Yep.
so.
All right.
Thank you
Oh,
for checking that, Shannon.
I have another question.
Mhm.
Okay, so with the fair or anything we have like that, are y'all checking off what was our downside on this, what we did good, so we can do better the next time? You know,
I'll have a
checklist?
whole list.
Okay, all
Yes.
right.
Conducting an
Yes.
after-action review.
Yes, I do. I have a whole list, and then, I actually even spoke with Robert, and, I told him within the next few weeks, I may even go up to the, Vidalia Onion Festival one, because that's where they were going next, and just kinda see, you know, cause sometimes you see what other people do to get different ideas. But yes, I have
Okay.
so many changes that I could see.
Can I
Okay.
add one
You
to your
know.
list? Tell them to take all their rejects with them next time.
They left
Did they
some.
leave
They
stuff?
left one that we've been dealing with constantly.
That's the one that they fired. Yeah, he came back that night, and, they actually took him all the way to 95, but somehow he got a ride and found his way back. And,
They
All
hired
right.
somebody
All right,
to
we-
run it back.
we gave them another ride.
Shannon, one other thing.
There's nowhere we can go.
I know you talked about, a fall fair, but I wouldn't want us to do anything that gives us a bad relationship with the county, cause the Oktoberfest fair is a big thing here, so.
Yeah, but.
Just be careful
yeah.
with that's what I'm saying, just.
You just don't schedule them on the same.
No, we don't skip, but that's
Just
right, but I don't
be
care if we
consistent.
schedule them close.
I don't
mean, I'm so over dealing with that, we need to think about ranking,
Yep.
and I.
Well, but-
And I wanna be there for that, I mean, I go to the F&M fair, cause I like the sausage and pancakes. But I'm gonna tell you that, past that, we need to start planning our stuff and, you know.
okay.
Wasn't that when we also, the fall was when we had the rodeo?
Yes.
No.
No,
that's in
we
the
have
summer,
that in
I'm
August.
August.
Yeah.
The hottest time
Trust
of
me.
year.
Everybody's
I
made
know
that
exactly
clear,
what
it
that
was
is.
very hot.
Yes.
Do we
Yeah.
have it scheduled this year, rodeo?
We will get it scheduled. It will be in August.
In August, it has to be.
And,
But,
No
and-
way
and
around
well,
that?
well, we asked the
Look at this
organizer, we
pumpkin
asked the
booth out
organizer
there.
about that,
That's not the only rodeo around.
no, you can get that done.
but
I do not.
we got and there's a lot of professional semi-pro like rodeo leagues, so we have to alternate around that, so they, especially with the turnout we had last year, I don't know that
Well, we
we'll
have
get them,
to
we'll
have
get changing the date.
misters,
I mean,
because it was so hot.
the
I lost
iPad
5
literally
pounds.
overheated.
So-
I actually do, we always had the little misters, it does help.
So Shannon, I wanna get back on track. So I like this thing for the fair that we got. When we have events like, I mean, I would even say that a tournament is an event when we got 1,000 people coming in. This would be something really nice if you know, whatever tournaments come in, if you do the same type layout here and just say, hey, this is what we made, you know, this is what we spent, and just kinda give us an idea like you did on the fair, cause I think that would be important for us to.
Well, if it's our tournament, that's easy. With it being someone else's, concessions is kind of hard because it's all mixed in with the weeknights
That
and.
rec deck thing would be able to separate that stuff out and do inventory for,
It will when we get internet but right now, we're still on squares. We don't have
so
internet.
Jonathan, you getting that right?
Yes.
Please.
He's been
You would be
working on it.
surprised at the, sorry, I'm in the middle of. It's surprised, like, Comcast planners, we're having a hard time to get them to call
And
us
it's
back.
right
We're
across the
willing to-
road.
We're willing to pay, like, hey, we need the fiber ran
You know,
across the road, getting there.
I was really embarrassed that our new director could not even beat another office with her phone. She has to get up and go to the other
Yeah,
office.
and-
I still do.
And it says a lot,
Every day.
it's been like that, I mean, it's always
We get
been
a
like
lot
that, so
of
now.
Since 1980, right?
Yeah.
If you see a big fan out on the front sidewalk, you know it's because I'm out there on the phone.
So we are working on that.
All right. Anything else for Ms. Looper? No?
No.
All right, let's move to wastewater. Mr. Tommy?
Mayor, City Council, so good to see you guys this evening.
Good to see
Good
you.
to see you.
Yes, sir. Somebody said they thought he was a vampire.
So, our plans and specs are with the EPD right now on the expansion of the plant. That's where we're at. We also have been issued our permit that will see us through construction. So we already have all of the new limits and all of that already. And they did it for a 1 million gallon a day situation that we're in right now, and a 2 million gallon a day limit. And so we have all of that stuff. EPD is still has the plans. Next is gonna be bidding. And it looks like possibly if the EPD gets our stuff back, that could happen in maybe July. So,
Wow, that's great.
things moving. Our new employee that we are so happy that we have just went to Class 3 class in Carrollton, Georgia, at Georgia Wastewater Institute. That's a real thing.
Been there, done that.
So, we're happy that he goes to sit for his test on Thursday. So we're hoping that he gets his license. As soon as he passes that test, we'll be able to get all of the information that they request together and submit a packet, and the board will decide on his license. They generally issue it.
Excellent.
We're in need of a digester blower, if you see one. It's just one of the things that have
I don't know.
just
It's
come
in
up.
her trunk.
Is it good?
See somebody passing by with one
Yeah,
on the
she's
truck.
got
If you happen to see one at Walmart, let me know.
Pick it up.
I got it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Somebody
So-
passing, run them down.
So are you saying there's none out there, or?
No, ma'am, we have 3 of them, but at this point, 2 of them are down. So we're down to 1, and I'm trying to nurse everything by, cause I hate to buy new equipment that's gonna be retrofitted and.
And we can't rent anything like that.
No, and it's, so,
So we
What is
keep,
one-
we keep in touch about it because, I mean, and Tommy's very good at letting me know that, you know, we'll buy it if we absolutely have to, but once that plant's up and operational, we won't need this piece of equipment.
Right, so
And
we're
it's
just
kind of
trying to
pricey,
get
so
there.
if we have to get it at some point, we will,
It's
but
like a hover.
he's got an eye on it every day,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But couldn't we sell that piece of equipment
Yes.
to someone afterwards?
That's a Tommy question.
Facebook Marketplace.
To a smaller town that might need it.
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
Gov deals or something like that.
All right, well, worst case, I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta have it, you
Right.
know.
Thank you.
What's the cost on
It's about 12,000.
Well,
it? And, yeah, we don't wanna shut it down.
well,
12 grand.
as devil's advocate, so you're down to 1, what happens when that one just
It's a,
bites the dust?
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully that don't happen.
But what happens if it does?
What happens?
Like, we don't want that to happen, but at the end of the day, we need to know, how does that impact our city?
I think those things are probably maybe 2 days, 3 days.
To get here,
To get one here?
I don't think that it's 2 weeks.
Okay.
Compliance is not an issue with the digester. It could be if it went long enough, but I think that we're good.
Could we keep a check on
That
that
sounds
2
sketchy.
days?
You're
Can we,
right.
John,
keep
can
it?
we-
You guys
on
remember the
2
certain
days?
factory that had an odor? I mean, we'll know quickly if it's not digested. I'm not trying to be that, we will know very quickly if it's not working.
Okay.
We're talking about a $12,000 piece of
Yeah,
equipment,
that's-
though,
that
that
can
is
be
going to
resold.
make, that can be resold.
Yeah.
I don't think we should put him in the position to have to limit along. I think we fix the problem.
There you go.
Done.
All right.
could we order it and just don't open the box? You know what I'm saying?
Tommy, how big?
Look at you.
You wanna demonstrate how big
like
these things
this.
are?
That's like we're bringing it wrong and returning it the next day.
Listen, it has
roughly
way
how
more
big is the
value on
digester?
Facebook Marketplace if we can say brand new in box, just saying.
Right.
All right, just keep us
Thank you,
updated.
Tom, we appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Tim, can you come on up?
Uh-oh.
Tell us a little bit about,
Yourself?
Where are you from? What you like to do?
Just an update on, the pumps for the 2 lift stations. They should be here by the end of the week. And,
Good.
We'll have try to get a boom truck next week, get them in the ground, get an electrician to hook them up. Right now, we're running on the 2 bypass pumps on rentals. Waiting for United Rental to come pick our bypass pumps up to go fix those. Other than that, we just getting back to normal routine summer work. Grass cutting and trying to chase down people watering the grass too much.
What, we were replacing, remember we were talking about we were trying to get all those grinding pumps removed? Where was that?
oh,
at?
that was, yeah. down
West
there.
7th Street.
Yeah, where are we on that?
Finance, plans already drawn up, they got some easements they
I
gotta
think
get.
we're, Mr. Scott got
Well,
to
that's
say
what I'm saying, we got that, but it's gonna be one project, but, we've got 3, 4 more sign-offs, about 5 more sign-offs.
Yeah.
We'll get that.
I think that'll need 30 some odd grinding
Yeah.
pumps, something along
Those
lines.
those 3 easements, if they've got a grinder pump, we've got an easement to that grinder pump.
And that's what I'm thinking, but,
Because they had to
we've
sign
got
it- they had to
7
sign an
on
easement.
there, but we actually only have about 5. And, just like he said, I'm trying to figure out why we don't have easement where grinder pumps are already.
Right.
Cause grinder pump belongs to us, right?
Yeah.
Most all of them do. If it was put in before 1999, it belongs to the city. Anything put in after that,
Under the grant.
Yeah.
It came in under the original grant from the state, and anything that was put in, it was grandfathered in, and, it's our responsibility.
What was that date?
1999.
1999, that's whenever the grant ended. So anything that was put in after that, the homeowner had to put it in and take responsibility for that pump.
Oh, okay.
We'd make a tap on the main, stub it out, and they'd have to run to it.
Okay. We're just trying to get all the
I like to get rid of-
projects,
I like to
finished
get
up.
rid of all of them.
Yeah.
But some situations, I mean, that's gonna be a long-term situation, to get rid of all of them,
Yeah.
especially on the north end of town.
So I know we talked about this during the budget, but I wanted to, ask you about, we talked about a dump truck so that we wouldn't have to bring our sweeper all the way back and forth, so that we could dump onto our dump truck, so maybe we could cover more area on our sweeper. Just your thoughts on that, where you are, and also, your thoughts on maybe hiring having a full-time, sweeper as well, operator.
I don't know that, I mean, we could, but, I don't know with the weather. Yeah, you may be wasting your time hiring somebody full-time. Part-time guy comes in, works three days a week. If it's raining on Monday and Tuesday, he can come in and work Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
So does he normally hit certain areas on those days, and do you have designated areas? Is there a schedule that he's on?
He normally starts on 21 and gets 21 first, and then starts going around to the different subdivisions. He'll hit Lost Plantation and move out on up, Stonewall, the Abbey,
And
Dasher's Landing, and come back down. And right now, the sweeper's broke down.
What's wrong with it?
Blew another hose,
Blew a hose?
hydraulic hose.
How long's it been down?
Went down Thursday.
I thought we ordered a new one.
I was thinking.
We've got one on order, but it won't be here till August.
Oh, okay.
It's up through the state contract.
You talking about another sweeper?
Yes.
Yeah.
But so this is my thing, I deal with sweepers every day. We gotta have somebody that can come in, mobile hose company, come in, put a hose on there when it goes down.
Who the civilians?
Well, internal,
Oh.
but there's
Maybe
third-party
central.
guys that, you know.
Yeah, we got, I use J&L Equipment,
Mhm.
and he's pretty good about getting down here to work on our stuff.
Yeah.
So when's he coming? When's he
Excuse-
coming?
He's supposed to be here tomorrow,
Okay.
but, he's a single man operation. You can't take a hose company won't come in and change a hose on that one.
Why won't
Is it
they?
old?
No, because you can't get to them.
I'll get you some people, some names, because it has to be functional, when it goes down.
Mhm.
And
That's
then
why I
also,
don't
if
like
we get
it.
a new one, and I'm gonna just say this, if we get a new, if we purchase a new sweeper, I think that we all need to see a schedule where that thing's gonna be, you know.
The biggest complaint I hear about our city is that it looks dirty. Like, that's the biggest complaint that I get. And I can tell you that most of y'all know that I live in picket fences. In front of City Hall, turning left onto my road, in the median, there has been trash that has been sitting in that median for about 2 weeks now. It's someone's clothing articles. I'm not gonna get in the middle of Highway 21 traffic to pick it up. But I feel like if the street sweeper's doing what it's supposed to be, I shouldn't see that for 2 weeks. 2 weeks is a long time to have trash lay in the road, right in front of City Hall.
Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna get everything.
But every city,
Well, once he goes by there, I mean, he's done with that route, and then
Does
he's
he come to
moving on
City
to
Hall?
somebody. Excuse me?
does he come to City Hall?
He doesn't come to City Hall, he
Do
goes
you
right
come
by
to City
City Hall.
Hall?
Yeah,
So, I mean, people are seeing that, you are seeing that.
well, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, cause I'd like to tell, and I don't know, maybe it's just we've gotta readdress how we do things, because I know that I'm seeing places like, on the island there where you turn off Fort Howard Road to come north on 21. The cigarette butts and trash up against that island all the way around it is thick and nasty, and,
Now, those islands, we have to get there and clean them by hand.
Yeah.
And I
You
mean,
can't
so-
get in there with a sweeper with that type of
So-
traffic.
I mean, but what program and policy do we put in place, especially main streets, need to look well? And, if our citizens, if we look good, our citizens will feel good, and I've said that a lot, and I agree with Brandy. We just,
We have to take pride in our city
Well,
if we're not doing that.
and just to clarify, those sweepers are not just for appearance, those are
They're
drainage as
Right.
well. And, so that's the reason, that's why it's so important, to move that stuff around. And I would suggest that if we do get it, when we get a new sweeper, we try to look at bringing a person in here late night. That's whenever those sweepers should be running on a second shift, where people are out of the way. You got a dump truck coming in following. He's not
Especially
having-
the main roads on
That's right.
21.
That's right. And you can get in all those areas, you can, it's tough to do it during the day, during the morning.
John, can we, look at, back to the timing of the sweet sweeper, where some of the calls I get, basically said the city's telling them cars are parked on the road.
Right.
And they know it.
That's a ticket.
But can we look at that, and also, we talking about the schedule on this, street sweeper, and then they're just talking about some debris areas. What if you bring that guy in, and then he runs that street sweeper, so then it'll be his responsibility that the police in these other areas.
I agree. If he, I get what he's saying. He's saying that.
So on days that it's raining and he
bad
can't
weather,
run the
he can
sweeper,
police.
he can be
Policing
keeping up
that
with the
road.
schedule and policing and making sure that those things are
well,
handled.
I was gonna suggest maybe Jonathan wants to sit down with Tim and y'all work out
Yeah.
something.
Something.
Well, that's the way we do it.
We just have to have signs, before you start issuing tickets and things for parked cars, you
Well, we
get those signs in those areas that say
Well,
no
we've already got
parking
the
between.
ordinance, people are already getting tickets if you're parked in the road, whether street sweeper or not, like,
Yeah.
they're
Right.
starting to get tickets.
Buses, all
Like,
that.
yeah, that's already in
There you go.
place, so.
All right.
Well, I think if we, enforce especially these, strip malls, parking lots, fine them for not cleaning it up. because, okay, people throw stuff down in that strip mall,
And it blows.
and it blows all over our city.
Well,
So-
I think code enforcement, because I had somebody tell me the other day, could we not do something to, one of our bigger clientels, or one of our bigger businesses in Rankin, who's got trees overgrowing their sign and their shrubs look awful, but that's probably code enforcement, Terry. You know, and it's, y'all know who I'm talking about. So, you know, the people were complaining about that to me the other day, that the trees are so grown over, even their sign, you can't even see it. They were talking about the Kroger Shopping Center. There are trees the trees that are right there at the end of their islands, they can't get out.
You're blocking.
Right there at
It
Firehouse
blocks.
Sub, you've got cars coming out of Taco Bell and everywhere else, and you're trying to get out, and you can't even see for the trees.
Yeah.
But I told them, I don't know that we can code enforcement inside private property.
Yeah, we can. We can tell you how to cut, we can tell you to cut your grass, fix your steps, and that's absolutely we can.
So, but if y'all can just work out schedule.
Yeah,
I've
we
got
can.
one other question.
And if people have problems, provide them with the app, please, to
Yes.
make that notice and start that
And,
request.
and,
in the app,
and,
please.
and just clarify, Jonathan, that can be any of us as well.
It absolutely.
So,
it
so if
sure
we're,
can.
you know, that would save a lot. If we're riding through town and we see it,
Yeah.
instead of talk about it here, put it in,
Okay.
put it in the app.
Hey, I love that I tell people, if you go to Citizen Central and send somebody a report. I got another one, and Jonathan, you talked to him about Macomber Park?
No, ma'am, I have not.
All right, you said that night that line coming from the concession stand, that sanitary sewer is 8-inch. And when I went home and told my husband, he said, no, it's 4-inch. So I called Mr. Black and I said, was that 8-inch or 4-inch? He goes, it was 4-inch. He goes, I'll go look again. I said, no, that's all right. But I don't know that you understood this when, that night when I told you this, Tim. When they used that water jet to unclog that line, pieces of a hub fitting came out. And I told Jonathan about it. He said, you'd have to get a camera and run through that, cause they're concerned there might be some damage to that line up in there. But we told them not to run a camera. Jonathan said you had a camera and you could do that. But we're gonna be pouring a lot of concrete over that.
We need to make
So
sure
we
it's
need to
right.
make sure that's there. And then if it's also, if it's a 4-inch line, international plumbing code, we know that is every 100 foot needs to be a clean. So if we
Well-
could check into that on a camera.
Whenever they flush the water in the toilet, you come out of that manhole and that I was looking in, and it's a 6 or 8-inch line in there.
Are you positive?
I am positive.
Did you go look at it?
I was standing there watching the water run in there. Now,
Because
it may reduce down outside that manhole,
But right, that manhole. he
and the
said
manhole
it's
coming
right.
in there, it's a 8-inch or a 6-inch pipe. Now, they may drop it down from a 4-inch with a reducer coming into that manhole.
That's where the camera would verify
Yeah.
those connections.
I was standing there too, and I mean, I thought when you said 8 inches, that ain't no 8-inch line, but, I mean,
Well,
Let's just run our camera and verify.
Let's run the camera in there.
Yeah, we'll verify.
yeah, because we just don't wanna pour all that
Yeah.
concrete and have a problem.
Yeah.
I'll get Jacob them to run it Wednesday.
All right, Rankin Golf will,
I got
Go
one
ahead.
other thing.
oh, you go ahead,
Okay,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
sorry.
He's talking.
Sorry.
He's talking tonight.
Oh, I thought he was gonna
Y'all
do it
keep
all.
up here this long, just listen to this. We did, manage to auction off the old dump truck
Nice.
and the old Dodge truck. We got $14,000 out of that dump truck
Nice.
and $2,000 out of the, Dodge Ram.
What we buying?
The dump truck.
Another dump truck?
Right.
No
The
comment.
digester. The digester.
Yeah.
A digester.
Digester mold, maybe.
Rankin Golf, we'll have the superintendent up first, or y'all can come up together, and get through it. Joe?
How y'all today?
We're good, how are you? I golfed the other day.
Good, how'd you like it?
Good, I did excellent. The only problem I have is it was cloudy and my cart stopped and I was on the path.
We
So-
have that in some areas.
Yeah, so we had to go backwards a lot to get going.
We had it the day of the eclipse also, that messed with it. I had a couple golfers said their cart turned off on the path.
Yeah, but we literally went down the path backwards because it wouldn't go forward.
maybe we
Was
need.
that your preference?
No.
Uh,
I was just trying to check the skills out.
Right, right.
Driving backwards.
I can drive backwards.
So I was like, what are we gonna do? Cause people were coming up behind us and their cart was working, our cart wasn't.
So it wasn't all the carts, it was just singled out.
When it's cloudy, sometimes I guess the satellites don't pick up exactly the line, so it kind of moves over a little bit. So maybe on cloudy days, we need to adjust the line a little.
Yeah.
I'll see if
Well,
I
I
can
like
play
how
with
you
it.
did the red lines showing people where not to go, so.
For the fairway and the approaches,
Yeah.
that's what that's for
Yeah.
my guys to mow.
Oh, well, I thought it was where we couldn't go.
That's
what I was saying. That works too.
It works
Keep
till
right
I'm
on
there.
there.
Also,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
So, but other than that, it was fun.
good.
How about our sprigging?
We're doing it this week. Hopefully, the sprigs will arrive Wednesday. So either Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning, we will be sprigging, and so it'll be probably 6 to 8 weeks of growing time, and the greens will be back healed.
And we have, we're gonna put that out to let everybody know on Citizens. I think all of our members pretty much know, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to get it out.
Yeah, once we know that it's here Wednesday and they started, we'll put it out just to give everybody
Okay.
a heads up that there'll be a little transition period for. a
I'll
couple
let you know as
months.
soon as we
Please, yes.
start.
Yep.
We purchased the Air2 G2 machine, the air fryer. We actually air fried all the greens in one day with it.
Nice.
Not messing with play, anything like that, and, it really dried up the greens really well after the big rain we had, and, that's gonna be a great tool to have.
And that is the machine that goes in under, right?
It has 3 prongs, goes into the ground and shoots air out. So it does it shoots air in the area that's 6 by 9. So you do this area, you move up 6 feet, you do it, and the whole green gets airified
Nice.
without disturbing play.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really awesome machine.
Nice.
That and the sprigs is really all I have. I'm open for questions. If anybody,
Oh, yeah, I have a question.
yes, ma'am?
Okay, so we have the bathroom, which I love on the back 9.
Yeah.
What are we doing about the front?
Tim's gonna help me move the bathroom that we have at the shop to hole 5 when the machine gets repaired.
Mm-hmm.
He was having problems with JCB repairing the loader, and we're gonna put in a septic tank and hook it up, kinda like, it'll look just like the one on 15.
That's awesome.
So, it's whenever his machine gets repaired and he can move it out there for me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all y'all got for him?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of talk about false alarms. I just want to say, I've set the alarm off just once. I think Doug's done it 3 or 4 times, I don't know. But, and then I didn't know the password. When the alarm went off, and it was in the cart barn, lights flashing, I was like, good grief. I think it's my second day. We've had a lot going on since March 6th, I think.
Sounds about right.
First day, yeah. So on March the 20th, we were able to put membership back out. That was the announcement we made on the 20th. Jonathan approved it a little before that, but, since that date, we have had 29 brand new members. Nice. 29. So the total members we have right now are 113. Jonathan asked me the other day, I think it was 104.
104 at least.
I mean, they're coming in like crazy, but, so that's going great. We are in the process of getting that membership, translated into Korean. It should be done this week, I hope. Cause, we have a lot of our players out there, and it is very hard to communicate. It's very hard. So that was the best thing we could think of, is just have someone translate the membership options, cause I think they would be interested. They play all the time.
And if you need help with that, I'm sure we can reach out to some of our Ceylon employees that are already here, and they could probably translate
Yeah,
that fairly
yes.
quickly for everybody. anything we need and use.
Okay, and
Right.
there is one lady that helps us a
I
little
wanna
bit.
introduce you to Google Translate.
We do use that. They use that quite a bit, but there's
Yeah.
still a little bit of a struggle.
Okay.
They use it a lot when they come up to the, counter, and we try to communicate that way. It's still a little difficult, but we'll get there.
Well, I have a quick question,
All right.
since you're talking about it. My daughter and son-in-law they're big golfers. And they tried to go to Black Creek, and they didn't have enough carts. And all of them had one person in a cart. Are we sticking to we need 2-man carts?
We are. Now, sometimes that gets by. People come check in at different times, it gets crowded. The other day it happened. And, someone asked Christy about it because they saw them, and she was like, no, I didn't mean to do that, you know?
Right.
And it does happen though. I mean, you got so many people coming through.
Yeah.
Yes, we make people share a card. That happened once that I've been there, that I know
Yeah.
of.
Well, I mean, she said that there was 30 of them, and they were all in one in each cart.
Oh, yeah, we can't,
Yeah.
we run out of cards really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not speaking for the restaurant, but the restaurant, they are doing a QR code for every golf cart, a different QR code for every golf cart. So that when you order, they don't even have to ask you where you are, they know. They go and take the food to you, but they are getting that in English and Korean also, so, I thought that was good to
So
add.
they'll take the food to them on the course?
Yes,
Yeah, the beverage cart, girl came around, and that was nice.
yes,
Haven't
that's
seen
been
that.
good.
That's good.
And she's working with my card, actually, I brought mine from home, and they have, coolers in the back, but it's working great until theirs gets here. So far in the month of April, we've had 1,891 rounds of golf. Last year at the same time, we had, 1,714. And so we're moving in the right direction, and that could have been a rainy April also, but we like the direction we're moving. Since March, we've had the outside of the building painted. We painted the foyer, the hallway, both bathrooms, just kind of tidying up different things. The biggest thing to me that we're working on, I'm excited about, the Easy Suites system we use, we barely use it. We're paying for the system, and every day I'm looking at, I just start reading stuff, and I'm like, is there a manual around here? There's actually no manual. The Easy Suites guy told me that too, but I've just been reading, and I'm like, we should be able to do so much more. Like, currently, we cannot send statements for the members through email. We have to print them out and mail them, or hand them to them when they come in. Craziest thing. But we're getting set up with that. We're also getting set up, it'll probably be done this week, for members to, they're doing a member portal, and all this we're already paying for, that we just weren't using. So they will be able to log in to their member portal, see their statement, and pay their bill.
Oh, that's good.
So it makes life a whole lot easier. So I'm excited about that, and there's a lot of other stuff within that I'll probably need to talk to Jonathan about, but, stuff we're already paying for, I mean, but good things. But that's about it. Do you have any questions?
What's the feedback on the restaurant?
Great,
It's very good.
great. It's been packed. As a matter of fact, they had to close today because they had to get some new equipment because they couldn't handle all the people.
volume.
Yeah, and so we didn't even have bad feedback on that because they had to close a day. So I think somebody did come in to eat, and we were like, they're closed today, and they're like, oh, they were bummed out, but they understood.
Yeah.
But it's been great.
When will they be back up?
Tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
I know Sonny and I went the other night, just him and I, and we sat on the patio, and it was really nice. People had their kids out there playing.
Yeah.
And
It's nice on the patio right now. I mean, when it warms warms up, it's gonna be hot, but it's still, sun goes down, it's still very nice.
I remember, and I just wanna add this, Jonathan, I remember when I was on, we had talked about one time, I think since we've got the people out there, maybe it's something that we can start looking forward to, is we had approved a pavilion, you remember that?
Yeah.
Where we were gonna put that off to the side there, just just an idea, I mean, it was gonna be like a pole barn, but we were gonna be able to do some different events out there, and, I know that we were, head first, we wanting to approve that. And I know that was talked about, but then, of course, all of us have changed and switched out, but it's something that we need to go back and look at because of the things that we could do up there now. Yeah.
Well, we're
Add
not
it to the
finished,
list, Jonathan.
we're not finished at the golf course yet. When
Right.
we finish the golf course, all the repairs, then we can talk about that.
Have we made a decision on what we're doing about?
Well, what are we
Park
talking
Ave?
about waiting to, what
We're
repairs?
getting prices.
We'll talk about them later.
Oh, okay, well,
Kara knows, I know.
Things
Well, we
are
all need to
moving
know.
pretty fast.
They're moving forward.
I mean,
It's
they're
just,
moving fast, I feel like.
Yeah.
We would like for it to be like, the city place, like you go and have events and you have meetings and that's what I would love to see. I mean, it is a city, it's city owned. I think
Mhm.
it'd be great to be able to use it for more than what
Right.
we do.
Perfect. All right, no more questions? Mayor and council, anybody got anything? I'm 5 minutes behind. Anybody got anything? Is there a need for executive session?
None required by legal, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody else
I
here?
don't have anything to it.
All right. So I guess the motion's in order to adjourn.
second.
I got a motion by Mr. Scott, a second by Ms. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Votes back.
I'm